Sahih al-Bukhari. Actions while praying. Sahih al-Bukhari. Actions while praying. Narrated Qarib Mawla ibn Abbas. Abdullah bin Abbas said that he had passed a night in the house of Maimuna, the mother of the faithful believers, who was his aunt. He said, I slept across the bed, and Allah's Messenger along with his wife slept lengthwise. Allah's Messenger slept till midnight or slightly before or after it. Then Allah's Apostle woke up, sat, and removed the traces of sleep by rubbing his hands over his face. Then he recited the last 10 verses of Surat al-Imran, 2. Then he went towards a hanging leather water container and performed a perfect ablution and then stood up for prayer. Abdullah bin Abbas added, I got up and did the same as Allah's Messenger had done and then went and stood by his side. Allah's Messenger then put his right hand over my head and caught my right ear and twisted it. He offered 2 rakat, then 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 2 rakat and then offered 1 rakah witr. Then he lay down till the Muad Dhin. Sahih al-Bukhari 1198 Reference 21 Hadith 1. Sahih al-Bukhari. Actions while praying came and then he prayed 2 light rakat and went out and offered the early morning, Fajr, prayer. Sahih al-Bukhari 1198 Reference 21 Hadith 1. Sahih al-Bukhari. Actions while praying. Narrated Abdullah. We used to greet the Prophet while he was praying and he used to answer our greetings. When we returned from Najashi, the ruler of Ethiopia, we greeted him, but he did not answer us during the prayer. And, after finishing the prayer, he said, in the prayer one is occupied with a more serious matter. Sahih al-Bukhari 1199 Reference 21 Hadith 2. Sahih al-Bukhari. Actions while praying. Narrated Abdullah. The same as number 290. From the Prophet. Sahih al-Bukhari 1199b Reference 21 Hadith 3. Sahih al-Bukhari. Actions while praying. Narrated Zayd bin Arqam. In the lifetime of the Prophet we used to speak while praying, and one of us would tell his needs to his companions, till the verse, guard strictly your prayers, 2.238, was revealed. After that we were ordered to remain silent while praying. Sahih al-Bukhari 1200 Reference 21 Hadith 4. Sahih al-Bukhari. Actions while praying. Narrated Sahl bin Sa'di. The Prophet went out to effect a reconciliation between the tribes of Bani Amr bin Auf and the time of the prayer became due. Bilal went to Abu Bakr and said, the Prophet is detained. Will you lead the people in the prayer? Abu Bakr replied, yes, if you wish. So Bilal pronounced the Iqamah and Abu Bakr led the prayer. In the meantime the Prophet came crossing the rows of the praying people, till he stood in the first row and the people started clapping. Abu Bakr never looked hither and thither during the prayer, but when the people clapped too much, he looked back and saw the Prophet in the first row. The Prophet waved him to remain at his place, but Abu Bakr raised both his hands and sent praises to Allah and then retreated and the Prophet went forward and led the prayer. See Hadith number 295 and 296. Sahih al-Bukhari 1201 Reference 21 Hadith 5. Sahih al-Bukhari. Actions while praying. Narrated Abdullah bin Mas'ud. We used to say the greeting, name and greet each other in the prayer. Allah's Messenger heard it and said, say, at-tahiyyatu lillahi was salawatu wa tayyibatu. Assalamu alayka ayyuha an-nabiyyu wa rahmatu Allahi wa barakatuhu. Assalamu alayna wa ala abadi Allahi as-salihin. Ashadu an la ilaha illa Allah wa ashadu anna Muhammad, peace be upon him, abduhu wa rasulah. All the compliments are for Allah and all the prayers and all the good things are for Allah. Peace be on you, O Prophet, and Allah's mercy and blessings are on you. And peace be on us and on the good, pious, worshippers of Allah. I testify that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah, and that Muhammad, peace be upon him, is his slave and apostle. So, when you have said this, then you have surely sent the greetings to every good, pious, worshipper of Allah, whether he be in the heaven or on the earth. Sahih al-Bukhari 1202 reference 21 Hadith 6. Sahih al-Bukhari. Actions while praying narrated Abu Huraira. The Prophet said, the saying Subhanallah is for men and clapping is for women. If something happens in the prayer, the men can invite the attention of the Imam by saying Subhanallah, and women, by clapping their hands. Sahih al-Bukhari 1203 reference 21 Hadith 7. Sahih al-Bukhari. Actions while praying narrated Sahl bin Sa'di. The Prophet said, the saying Subhanallah is for men and clapping is for women. Sahih al-Bukhari 1204 reference 21 Hadith 8. Sahih al-Bukhari. Actions while praying narrated Anas bin Malik. While Abu Bakr was leading the people in the morning prayer on a Monday, the Prophet came towards them suddenly, having lifted the curtain of Aisha's house, and looked at them as they were standing in rows and smiled. Abu Bakr tried to come back, thinking that Allah's apostle wanted to come out for the prayer. The attention of the Muslims was diverted from the prayer because they were delighted to see the Prophet. The Prophet waved his hand to them to complete their prayer, then he went back into the room and let down the curtain. The Prophet expired on that very day. Sahih al-Bukhari 1205 reference 21 Hadith 9. Sahih al-Bukhari. Actions while praying narrated Abu Huraira. Allah's Messenger said, a woman called her son while he was in his hermitage and said, O Jirai, he said, O Allah, my mother is calling me, and I am offering my prayer. What shall I do? She again said, O Jirai. He said again, O Allah, my mother is calling me, and I am offering my prayer. What shall I do? She again said, O Jirai. He again said, O Allah, my mother is calling me, and I am offering my prayer. What shall I do? She said, O Allah, do not let Jirai die till he sees the faces of prostitutes. A shepherdess used to come by his hermitage for grazing her sheep, and she gave birth to a child. She was asked whose child that was, and she replied that it was from Jirai and that he had come out from his hermitage. Jirai said, where is that woman who claims that her child is from me? When she was brought to him along with the child, Jirai asked the child, O Babus, who is your father? The child replied, the shepherd. See Hadith number 662. Volume 3. Sahih al-Bukhari 1206 reference 21 Hadith 10. Sahih al-Bukhari. Actions while praying narrated Mu'aqib. The Prophet talked about a man leveling the earth on prostrating, and said, if you have to do so, then do it once. Sahih al-Bukhari 1207 reference 21 Hadith 11. Sahih al-Bukhari. Actions while praying narrated Anas bin Malik. We used to pray with the Prophet in scorching heat, and if someone of us could not put his face on the earth, because of the heat, then he would spread his clothes and prostrate over them. Sahih al-Bukhari 1208 reference 21 Hadith 12. Sahih al-Bukhari. Actions while praying narrated Aisha. I used to stretch my legs towards the Qibla of the Prophet while he was praying. Whenever he prostrated he touched me, and I would withdraw my legs, and whenever he stood up, I would restretch my legs. Sahih al-Bukhari 1209 reference 21 Hadith 13. Sahih al-Bukhari. Actions while praying narrated Abu Huraira. The Prophet once offered the prayer and said, Satan came in front of me and tried to interrupt my prayer. But Allah gave me an upper hand on him and I choked him. No doubt, I thought of tying him to one of the pillars of the mosque till you get up in the morning and see him. Then I remembered the statement of Prophet Solomon, my Lord, bestow on me a kingdom such as shall not belong to any other after me. Then Allah made him, Satan, return with his head down, humiliated. Sahih al-Bukhari 1210 reference 21 Hadith 14. Sahih al-Bukhari. Actions while praying narrated Al-Azraq bin Qais. We were at Al-Awaz fighting the Al-Harariya tribe. While I was at the bank of a river, a man was praying and the reins of his animal were in his hands and the animal was struggling and he was following the animal. Shu'bah, a sub-narrator, said that man was Abu Barza al-Aslami. A man from the Kaware said, O Allah, be harsh to this sheikh. And when the sheikh, Abu Barza, finished his prayer, he said, I heard your remark. No doubt, I participated with Allah's Messenger in 6 or 7 or 8 holy battles and saw his leniency, and no doubt, I would rather retain my animal than let it return to its stable, as it would cause me much trouble. Sahih al-Bukhari 1211 reference 21 Hadith 15. Sahih al-Bukhari. Actions while praying narrated Aisha. Once the sun eclipsed and Allah's Messenger stood up for the prayer and recited a very long surah and when bowed for a long while and then raised his head and started reciting another surah. Then he bowed, and after finishing, he prostrated and did the same in the second rak'ah and then said, These, lunar and solar eclipses, are 2 of the signs of Allah, and if you see them, pray till the eclipse is over. No doubt, while standing at this place I saw everything promised to me by Allah and I saw paradise, and I wanted to pluck a bunch of grapes therefrom, at the time when you saw me stepping forward. No doubt, I saw hell with its different parts destroying each other when you saw me retreating, and in it I saw Amr bin Luhai, who started the tradition of freeing animals, set them free, in the name of idols. Sahih al-Bukhari 1212 reference 21 Hadith 16. Sahih al-Bukhari. Actions while praying narrated Ibn Umar. The Prophet saw some sputum on the wall facing the Qibla of the mosque and became furious with the people of the mosque and said, during the prayer, Allah is in front of every one of you and so he should not spit, or said, he should not expectorate. Then he got down and scratched the sputum with his hand. Ibn Umar said, after narrating, if any one of you has to spit during the prayer, he should spit to his left. Sahih al-Bukhari 1213 reference 21 Hadith 17. Sahih al-Bukhari. Actions while praying narrated Anas. The Prophet said, whenever any one of you is in prayer, he is speaking in private to his Lord, and so he should neither spit in front of him nor on his right side but to his left side under his left foot. Sahih al-Bukhari 1214 reference 21 Hadith 18. Sahih al-Bukhari. Actions while praying narrated Sahl bin Sa'di. The people used to offer the prayer with the Prophet with their waist sheets tied round their necks because of the shortness of the sheets, and the women were ordered not to lift their heads till the men had sat straight. Sahih al-Bukhari 1215 reference 21 Hadith 19. Sahih al-Bukhari. Actions while praying narrated Abdullah. I used to greet the Prophet while he was in prayer and he would return my greeting, but when we returned from Ethiopia, I greeted the Prophet while he was praying, but he did not return the greeting, and after finishing the prayer, he said, in the prayer one is occupied with a more serious matter. Sahih al-Bukhari 1216 reference 21 Hadith 20. Sahih al-Bukhari. Actions while praying narrated Habir bin Abdullah. Allah's Messenger sent me for some job, and when I had finished it I returned and came to the Prophet and greeted him, but he did not return my greeting. So I felt so sorry that only Allah knows it, and I said to myself, perhaps Allah's messenger is angry because I did not come quickly. Then again I greeted him, but he did not reply. I felt even more sorry than I did the first time. Again I greeted him and he returned the greeting and said, the thing which prevented me from returning the greeting was that I was praying. And at that time he was on his rahila and his face was not towards the Qibla. Sahih al-Bukhari 1217 reference 21 Hadith 21. Sahih al-Bukhari. Actions while praying narrated Sahl bin Sa'di. The news about the differences amongst the people of Bani Amr bin Auf at Quba reached Allah's apostle, and so he went to them along with some of his companions to effect a reconciliation. Allah's apostle was delayed there and the time for the prayer became due. Bilal came to Abu Bakr and said, O Abu Bakr, Allah's messenger is detained there, and the time for the prayer is due. Will you lead the people in prayer? Abu Bakr replied, yes, if you wish. So Bilal pronounced the Iqamah and Abu Bakr went forward and the people said Takbir. In the meantime, Allah's messenger came piercing through the rows till he stood in the first row and the people started clapping. Abu Bakr would never look hither and thither during the prayer, but when the people clapped much he looked back and saw Allah's messenger. The Prophet beckoned him to carry on. Abu Bakr raised both his hands, praised Allah and retreated till he stood in the row, and Allah's messenger went forward and led the Sahih al-Bukhari 1218 reference 21 Hadith 22. Sahih al-Bukhari. Actions while praying people in the prayer. When he had finished the prayer, he addressed the people and said, O people! Why did you start clapping when something happened to you in the prayer? Clapping is for women. Whenever one is confronted with something unusual in the prayer, one should say, Subhan Allah. Then the Prophet looked towards Abu Bakr and asked, what prevented you from leading the prayer when I beckoned you to carry on? Abu Bakr replied, it does not befit the son of Al-Khafa to lead the prayer in the presence of Allah's messenger. Sahih al-Bukhari 1218 reference 21 Hadith 22. Sahih al-Bukhari. Actions while praying narrated Abu Hurairah. It was forbidden to keep the hands on the hips during the prayer. This is narrated by Abu Hurairah from the Prophet. Sahih al-Bukhari 1219 reference 21 Hadith 23. Sahih al-Bukhari. Actions while praying narrated Abu Hurairah. It was forbidden to pray with the hands over one's hips. Sahih al-Bukhari 1220 reference 21 Hadith 24. Sahih al-Bukhari. Actions while praying narrated Uqba bin al-Harith. I offered the Asr prayer with the Prophet, and after finishing the prayer with Taslim, he got up quickly and went to some of his wives and then came out. He noticed the signs of astonishment on the faces of the people caused by his speed. He then said, I remembered while I was in my prayer that a piece of gold was lying in my house, and I disliked that it should remain with us throughout the night, and so I have ordered it to be distributed. Sahih al-Bukhari 1221 reference 21 Hadith 25. Sahih al-Bukhari. Actions while praying narrated Abu Hurairah. Allah's messenger said, when the adhan for the prayer is pronounced, then Satan takes to his heels passing wind so that he may not hear the adhan, and when the muaddin finishes, he comes back. And when the Iqamah is pronounced, he again takes to his heels, and when it is finished, he again comes back and continues reminding the praying person of things that he used not to remember when not in prayer till he forgets how much he has prayed. Abu Salama bin Abdur Rahman said, if any one of you has such a thing, forgetting the number of rakat he has prayed, he should perform 2 prostrations of sahu. That is forgetfulness, while sitting. Abu Salama narrates this from Abu Hurairah. Sahih al-Bukhari 1222 reference 21 Hadith 26. Sahih al-Bukhari. Actions while praying narrated Abu Huraira. People say that I narrate too many narrations of the Prophet. Once I met a man, during the lifetime of the Prophet, and asked him, which surah did Allah's Messenger recite yesterday in the Isha prayer? He said, I do not know. I said, did you not attend the prayer? He said, yes, I did. I said, I know. He recited such and such surah. Sahih al-Bukhari 1223 reference 21 Hadith 27.